Welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown,
the unofficial sumo podcast
for official sumo fans.
Welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown. This is Ryan.
This is Jake.
This is Fleric.
This is Mac.
And this is our preview episode for the Aki Basho. We are recording this episode in America on Labor Day, which is Monday the 4th for all of you non-American heathens. And this is 6 days before the Basho. So if there's any injury news that hasn't broken last night, and we don't know about it, might affect our coverage of the Basho. As always, there's that caveat. Like last Basho, we were talking about, hey, is Takakeisho? How's he going to look this Basho? And then he just sat out the damn thing. So there's always the possibility of that happening. But before we dive into the Basho, we just want to mention our Patreon. All the funds for that goes to improving the podcast and giving back to the fans, like the free t-shirt we give away every Basho and the trading cards that all of our patrons are eligible to
that
receive.
We bring to events and stuff. Yeah.
Yep. We bring a lot of small little merch items to amateur sumo events that Patreon supports all of that. We got 2 different levels for the Patreon. We have a $1 friend of the show level, which guarantees you 1 compliment given during every Basho. We're about to give out a third of those compliments in a couple minutes.
a lot of places give like shout outs to their patrons, but they don't like really say what they mean to them. You know,
No.
In my opinion, that's a bargain.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then the $3 BFF of the show level, you get the compliment, plus you can come up with any topic that you wish us to discuss, and we are forced to discuss it by threat of violence upon our family. So we're going to talk about it.
It's a little more intense every time we bring it up.
Yeah, it's getting that way.
These Patreons, they're just holding our feet to the flames. They know they want us to talk about it, and they're willing to go to any length necessary. And we've got to let them.
Yeah.
Several have. Yeah.
Any and all levels of your support are highly appreciated, and we're just thankful for everybody that's decided to support us. So let's go on and get started with some compliments for our patrons, starting with 3 newcomers to our patrons.
Yeah, I want to do shout out Michael Kramer. Thank you for supporting the show. Your support helps us stay in the game instead of taking time off for that surgery that we really should get.
Mm-hmm. And
a little foreshadowing today.
Oh, Jake, why?
Three of us know the big surgery news, and then there's Fleric who's going to get the news broken in the middle of the episode.
Yeah,
I cannot wait
for it. Yeah.
Apparently, I'm going to be disappointed again. So let's go.
Yeah. Anyway,
to Ian Price, when it comes to you, the price is always right. Also, R.I.P. Bob Barker.
I know. I was like, no, Bob Barker.
Yeah.
Sorry to throw that in on your compliment, Ian Price, but
I'm sorry. Bob Barker was still alive?
he was 99.
Yes.
Yeah.
Interesting. Would not have guessed.
All right. Cow Puncher. In a Diablo 2 cow level, you would be my party member of choice. To kill.
The MVP of the secret cow level. Absolutely.
To battle all the cows and defeat the Cow King.
Yes.
I really hope that Cow Puncher is as ancient as we are and understands that reference.
I only hope to.
But to TT Squish, Sumo Nerd, formerly known as Rugby Nerd, Akiyaki, Jessica Buckland, Giuseppe Silico, hey Giuseppe, Robbie Gardner, Philo Colm, hopefully I'm saying that right, Justice Victor, Kenny Bending, Jeffrey Armando, Austin, Barron, Alex Hearn, Dick Flair, Rob Shields, Etheirist, Wadathings, Dylan O'Halloran, and Rob Lunsford.
The evil.
You are all the tape holding the knees of our show together. Thank you, and we're sorry. Because dear God, that tape is just sorry. Anyway, Teruno Fuji reference, oh God.
Also, foreshadowing to somebody's punishment.
Well, yes.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Jake, hit us with a 30 to 60 second Amazumo update.
If you want to watch the Consulates Cup that just happened this weekend, skip ahead here, but I am going to breathlessly try and go through the whole thing as quickly as possible. I'll never be able to shout out everybody, but I want to go through the divisions real quick and give a couple of the highlights. Lightweight, in the women's divisions, Liesl Rickoff really coming into her own, absolutely crushed it in the women's divisions. We also had Natalie Jones, who took her brother to the hospital early in the day for a sumo injury, came back and then won a medal. Excellent job there. And in the heavier divisions, Itan Perez is turning into a absolute steamroller out of Dallas Sumo Club. Still pretty new to the game, but is absolutely crushing it. Men's divisions. This may shock you, but my pick for the pound for pound best wrestler in the country, Edibo Kanyeha, won lightweight and open weight handily. Not like handily. I mean, he was challenged, but he did not take a single loss.
So Eric
Pound for
wasn't there, is what
pound,
you're saying.
who's the lightweight?
Edo
Pound
is a
for
lightweight.
pound, who's the lightweight?
Well,
Interesting.
Yep. Also, shout out to Corey Morrison, who won a competitive medal at Sumo, which is always he's generally doing more of the organizer type stuff, but he is also a force in the ring. Got to make a shout out there. At middleweight, JJ Jones is moving up a weight class and is packing on the muscle.
JJ moved up.
He's
Good
a
for
thick
him.
boy, and it is working. At light heavy, Sam Kempka came back, former national champion. Hasn't been competing as much the last couple of years, but he is still a force. And Brandon Rodzinski out of the Midwest, have to make sure to call him out. He did excellent. He took Sam absolutely to the brink. Also at heavyweight, we had a special guest from Georgia, the country, not the state. Zura, former, I believe he's a world medalist. He's like an actual international level competitor. Came along with former Komusubi Kokai to visit Austin, Texas. Showed us a lot and showed the heavyweights that, yeah, he there's another tier that they have to move their way up. Yeah, he was the only guy to beat Hayden Southall out of Dallas on the day. And last shout out has to go to Kyle Ferreter, who bugged me all weekend to let him wear my Iowa Sumo Zekin when he competed.
Nice.
So he kind of sort of got the first medal for Iowa Sumo Club. I don't really know if that counts.
We'll take it.
Take
it counts.
it.
He was wearing the Zekin. It counts.
He was wearing the Zekin. It counts. And of course, Justin Kizert put on an incredible show. Go watch the end after the medal ceremony. He gives a speech to all the wrestlers and the crowd that were still there. Choked up a little bit. All the wrestlers just like while he was choking up, all the wrestlers just funneled in and just did a massive group hug and tossed him in the air.
Awesome.
He earned it. Excellent show. I'll shut up about that until our bonus episode on it, which will come out eventually.
Yeah. All right. And we need to get an update on the happenings of the Nagoya Basho, and there's nobody better suited to do that than our field correspondent, B. So, B, take it away. Let us know what happened in the previous Basho.
Hey guys, B here with your Slip and Fall Brawl review. Well, Waka no Taharu Daesh no and Hoshor Yusho. After this tournament, I think I've finally figured out what's going on with all this Ozeki stuff. So, hear me out. I think the back office has commitment issues. Ever since the last generation of Ozeki, almost every single one of them has been constantly Kadoban. And I think the office wants to be able to get rid of Ozeki as fast as possible if plans change. So keeping them all Kadoban means that you can drop any one of them at a time. One less tournament of booking if you decide, for example, that no, you actually didn't really want Mitake Yumi as a top-of-the-card guy. I mean, just look at what happened this tournament. They were going to have Kirishima sit out so he'd go Kadoban until main event Taro Shoot injured himself again. And then all of a sudden it's, well, actually Kirishima's fine. Here he is again. What great Hinkaku. How nice. Anyway, here's a losing record. I will say this though. Much like Hakuho going Zencho his last tournament, they obviously saw the value in doing Hoshoryu up big with this Kashikoshi and Ozeki promotion and Yusho and special prizes thing. He's got the skill and pedigree to keep it up, so we'll see, if he suddenly has an injury next tournament. Oh, and speaking of pedigree, though, Haku Oho, seriously? That's like having a guy named Juan Cena or Bulk Hogan appear out of nowhere and start beating everybody. Oh, and not to beat a dead horse, but I hope catering is good, because Takeyasu having to Henka only to still lose just shows that they're still throwing dirt on top of his burial. Anyway, I'm excited for September. I'm a little low on funds right now because, did you guys know there's a Des Moines, New Mexico too? Yeah, apparently if you don't specify at the ticket counter, you get sat on the plane and then have to wonder where Iowa got a desert from. Anyway, See you in September. Ricefield.
We got it. We should have told him about that. So you just got to stick to Japan, B. That's why we kept you in Japan, not Iowa.
It looks like Des Moines, New Mexico is like a one road small. It's classified as a village.
Oh.
And yet they have a regional airport that B found tickets to.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. He got in on a puddle jumper.
Also, gotta give a shout out to that callback there from the. I can't remember what we were translating last episode, but it was like it was some quote and it finished the thought, and then also Ricefield.
Yeah,
like that was just the end of the Google Translate.
Gotta love Google Translate.
Yep, yep. It's a thing now.
That's enough BSing about not the Aki Basho on the Aki preview episode. Let's talk about the Aki Basho and let's figure out who the heck is going to be healthy during this tournament, especially at the top of the banzuke, because I don't think it's going to be Terano Fuji. We've got two Ozeki coming into this that are Kadoban. Who's healthy? So speaking of Terano Fuji, he was on the Jungyo tour, but he did not participate in any matches. He was basically just there to do the dohyoiri every day and just kind of be around, maybe lend his chest for some training every once in a while. He was also at the YDC joint practice, which was a large practice filled with most of the top division guys, as far as I can tell, that was held on September 2nd before the YDC. It was the first open practice for the YDC since the COVID pandemic. So they've opened that back up. That's great to see, but he didn't participate in any matches there either. And any recent comments that I've found from Terano Fuji about his participation were fairly non-committal, and he still mentioned some lingering back soreness. So Mac, if you're making the odds for this tournament, what odds are you placing on Terano Fuji participating in the Aki Basho?
I would have to put those odds at 80, no way, 20, maybe. There's no guarantee.
20, maybe.
20, maybe. There's no, like, definitely yes. No, that's an absolute zero in my mind.
Sure.
20% maybe for this, only because he did so well in May. And I thought, all right, this is great. Then he comes back in Nagoya and does one day, gets a win on Abi, and just slumps and then pulls out. I'm like, oh, this is not good. And then everything we were reading from the Jungyo, I'm like, I don't like it. I want him to pull out. I don't want him to participate in this one. Take the time to heal, come back and destroy everybody in Kyushu. So 80% no way, 20% maybe, nothing for yes.
Yeah, I think it's the fact he's not doing sumo bouts. He's just doing tachi checks. This is what I've been reading. I think it's kind of leaning towards it's not going to happen. I agree with you, Mac. I think 8% no way, 20% maybe.
Can I rephrase it to 20% of the time it works some of the time?
That's accurate.
I mean, I might put it a little higher. I know that there's a huge amount of pride in the Yokozuna at least participating. So yeah, maybe I'd bump that up to like a 40% maybe.
Oh.
But like I wouldn't be surprised if he did another like couple days and then was done. That I feel like that's still on the table. We're recording a week ahead of time, so like there's still plenty of time for development. But that's, I don't know. I definitely think that he will at least show his face if he absolutely can.
And so if we're looking at another Yokozuna-less Basho, how do we feel about that? Are we kind of excited to see who's going to step up in this kind of vacuum situation, or are we going to be more sad that we're not seeing the top guy in the sport? What are we thinking, kind of staring down the barrel of another Yokozuna-less Basho?
I think it'd be pretty rad if Hoshoryu kept it up. I mean, sure, there's recency bias, but like, yeah, that would be pretty. I don't know. That's kind of where my heart's feeling.
I don't know. I want to see Kirishima bust out at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Kirishima, things seem to be all systems go with him. He participated throughout the entirety of the Jungyo tour and the YDC joint practice. There's a video going around of an absolutely exhausted Kirishima. He had done a bunch of practice matches, and then Terano Fuji lent his chest to Kirishima and just kept making him do the Butsukari and force him out of the ring and just absolutely exhausted Kirishima. But everything that I've heard, the training has been going really well. The practice matches for Kirishima have been going very much in his favor. So it sounds like Kirishima is back to form at this point. He also recently had his Ozeki promotion party. And during that party, this is from a Google translated article, so take all of this
Oh,
with a
boy.
grain of salt. But he said he mentioned that he was experiencing no issues with the injuries that hampered him in July, and apparently JSA chairman Hakaku had said he expected Kirishima to rise to the Yokozuna rank within a year. Once again, don't know if there's translation error there, but it seems like
Which
there are
year?
some very
Like, wait, hang on. Within what year?
a year from now, I would assume.
Okay.
But it sounds like there's some very high expectations being placed on Kirishima as the current top Ozeki. So, Fleric, for you, is this a realistic expectation for Kirishima with Terunofuji obviously towards the end of his career and showing up one every 3 Basho at this point, and Takakeisho kind of also being a guy that's just he's going to be injured every other Basho or so.
Yeah, they need to cool the brakes a little bit on these expectations.
Oh.
We have a great thing right now. Let's not be ruining it by saying you have to get Ozeki to like actually be excited about this person. Nah. I think he is a favorite though. Like I think it's all about the wording. I think I'm very excited about Kirishima, also Hoshoryu. And like we were talking about Terunofuji, like I also agree, like kind of wait it out, kind of try to do the Hakuho thing of kind of like once someone is kind of on the precipice of becoming Yokozuna, that's when you kind of give them like a chance to like say, hey, we'll see if you're good enough, and like that's when you can hopefully be healthy, like to kind of be able to match against them. But
Make them
it's
earn it, right?
exactly, yeah. It's so it would yeah, so I think it's very exciting, but whether or not it's like within a year or not, I I don't it can happen, but I don't think we should put the expectation about that. We should just kind of just be happy that they're doing well and staying healthy and just kind of watch the journey and have a good time. That's what I think we should do.
Yeah, I you mentioned it, the translation. I'm curious if the word expectation, the way that we're understanding that in English is exactly the way it was meant in Japanese. Is it something where it's like, we think he is capable of becoming Yokozuna within a year? We would be disappointed if he's not Yokozuna within a year. Like those are different connotations you could kind of take from that. I'm curious if there was any nuance lost in that translation, but regardless of which connotation, it's very encouraging that he's somebody that they're looking at as the most likely next top guy at this stage.
Yeah. So let's move on to our other Kadoban Ozeki, because we have to remember Kirishima missed the first 3 days. Last Basho, like B mentioned, came in. He had a chance to get the Kachikoshi, but he lost his last 3 matches to finish 6 and 9. So he is Kadoban alongside Takakeisho, who took the entire Basho off as he was still recovering from his knee injuries. So Takakeisho says that he believes he will be okay for Aki, despite not having done a whole lot of practice prior to the open YDC practice on the 2nd. I love quotes from Takakeisho because he is such a jock, and like you don't expect it looking at somebody like Takakeisho.
Ryan, it's called a mawashi.
You're right. I apologize. But you just don't really expect that from Takakeisho. But here are some quotes from him saying, I've been doing sumo since primary school. It's not like I'm going to forget how, in reference to him not doing a whole lot of practice matches leading up to the Basho.
Okay.
He's just saying, if I don't do well in September, it'll just show I don't have what it takes. And then also, I don't care about results in practice. When his hair is in an oichomage and his loins in a shimekomi, a rikishi is a changed man. So Takakeisho believes in Takakeisho.
That is, yeah. I love that.
That is a sports nut. Okay.
So I just love his spirit. He's just He doesn't need the practice. He knows what he's doing when he gets
Yeah,
out there.
he's just built different,
Yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah.
No, that is
Just
that
don't
is
lose.
bold. That is
Yeah.
bold for somebody who's still on like the younger side of things to be like, technique is fine. If my body's fine, I'm gonna win. You know, like
Yeah.
it's purely physical, at least in his attitude here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But he is coming off of an absence. He is Kadoban. The last time we saw Takakeisho compete at Basho, he did get his 8-7 record, but it was a very shaky 8-7 to hold on to his rank as much as possible. So when we exit the Aki Basho after 15 days, are we going to have either, neither, or both Kadoban Ozeki keep their rank? Jake, what is your thought?
I think they'll probably both keep it. Takakeisho would be one that I'd be more skeptical on, just I think because we've seen that he will play the game if he needs to. He'll take another one off if he believes that he'll be recovered in time to get the 10 wins to regain Ozeki in November if he really has to. So that gamesmanship to make sure, like putting aside the sumo pride of I need to compete every single time and all that, if we've seen that he can do that if he feels that will be a better long-term outcome. Kirishima looked okay by the end of last Basho, and since I don't think there's really anything major that's new for him, I guess I just have to trust that he's feeling better and is only going to be improved since last time. Like you take away those 2 absences that he had last time, if he had participated in one, there's an 8-7 right there, right? So I think I kind of have no reason not to trust that he is back to where he's at, or back to where he should be at least sumo healthy, which is incredibly unhealthy, but you know what I mean by sumo healthy.
Yes, absolutely.
So yeah, I guess my expectations for him are 8 to 11 maybe wins. I do think that unless something new has occurred, he should be on the path back up to where he was at before.
Yeah, and quick correction for Takakeisho. Dude's 27 now. Like he made it to, he's not quite as young as we keep touting him to be, but
That's a good point.
Yeah, he made it to Ozeki in 2019. I believe he was 22 at the time, and then in 2019 he turned 23.
Okay.
And now he's 27. So he's starting to get up there.
Yeah, that 27 to 30 is kind of where you see a lot of guys hit their peak. So yeah, I guess maybe older than I thought, but also still younger than most guys are at that stage when they hit that spot.
Absolutely not saying like he's on a decline or anything.
Sure.
Like
Yeah. No, I got you.
It's not like he's 30 or anything.
Yeah.
No, but I was actually gonna bring up his age because I feel like maybe his narrative is changing a little bit. Because before, like he would get injured, but then he would just kind of bounce right back and still like put up some good results. But he's been pretty injured the last couple of years, and so he's kind of like doing that Ozeki thing, not Ozeki, but Yokozuna thing, where it's like every other Basho, just where he's actually healthy. And whether or not he can keep bouncing back, I'll be very curious if he can keep it up. I'm a lot more worried about Takakeisho than I have in the past. It's just simply because it's becoming a pattern, being more injured, and it's like he's just getting up there in age. So I'll be kind of curious. That's the thing I'll be watching with him.
Yeah, the last time we really saw a healthy Takakeisho was January of this year when he went 12-3 and won the Yusho. Then the next Basho, he had to pull out after 6 days with the knee injury. He didn't practice at all leading up to the May tournament, but he was able to get his scrappy 8 wins, but clearly not healthy. Then he sat out all of July. And so now he's coming back here in September. Once again, are we going to see just scrappy Takakeisho doing Henka's anything he can to scrape by, or are we going to see powerful, straightforward, blow you out of the doyo Takakeisho that can threaten for the Yusho if healthy?
Yeah.
I'm kind of with you, Flarek. It's been since January since he's really been healthy, and these things will just linger on more and more the more abuse your body takes, no matter how old you are. So it's only a matter of time for Takakeisho, but I don't quite think that time is yet.
Yeah. I definitely don't. I think rather before where like Hakaku says, I expect this person to get Yokozuna, I think Takakesho needs to get Yokozuna pretty soon. Or he's gonna be
He's
he's
getting
gonna
up
be a little
there.
trouble. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think hopefully at some point he needs to like rally and just kind of say, okay, this is what I'm targeting, these two Bashos, and I'm gonna just try to go for it or something. So because he needs to get that Yokozuna so he can go every other or every take a couple off in the year and still be okay. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be
My
funny if his.
only-
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mac.
Oh, no. My only worry for Takakesho at this point is with that knee. I mean, based off his actual style of sumo, he has to have that solid lower core to make sure that his pushes can land, that he can move, that he can at least try and use what his bread and butter at this point. But if his knees are bothering him, he doesn't have much else in the tank that he can use. I mean, primarily he's a pusher thruster. And if his base isn't solid, then he's got nothing for power.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I think all of us are feeling pretty good about Kirishima. I think that sounds right. And we have our concerns for Takakesho, but is anybody concerned enough about Takakesho to say that you think he will lose his Ozeki rank after this Basho?
Nah.
No, I think it's a possibility, but I think the odds, in my opinion, the odds are definitely in his favor.
Yeah, he's just shown too many times that he can bounce back even when not healthy. He knows what to do to put together 8 wins. So yeah, I just have faith that he knows how to escape Kadoban.
He's
He's
that
been
young,
doing
crafty
sumo
veteran.
since primary school.
Yeah, exactly.
He knows.
young crafty veteran, I like that. I was saying, can we start calling him a sly old fox yet, or is that for like 35
He's the
plus?
sly middle-aged fox as far as sumo goes.
Like with the way that he's with some of those quotes, like he's at grizzled vet status. Like he's been Ozeki for 4+ years. Even if he's only 27, he's grizzled vet at this
He knows
point.
what he's doing.
He's not yet like super old, but yeah,
No.
he's there's a lot of age in those knees.
He's still 11 years younger than Tamawashi.
Oh, God.
So we talked a lot about a couple of Kadoban Ozeki, but what about some potential new Ozeki? That's been the hot talk all of this year, and we've gotten 2 new ones in Kirishima and Hoshoryu, and we still have 3 guys that are in striking distance of the Ozeki rank. Not really a high likelihood of anybody getting the promotion after this Basho. Our 3 candidates, Daisho, Wakamoto Haru, Koto Nawaka, are all sitting with 19 wins over the past 2 Basho, and realistically would need 14 to 13 and a Yusho win probably to get the promotion. I don't think any of us are expecting 14 wins suddenly out of any of those guys, but they're all in prime position to do good this time and really set things up for themselves in the Kyushu Basho for promotion. I do want to stop down and talk about Daisho a little bit, though, because I didn't know this, but he is recovering from a broken rib that he suffered on day 13 of the Nagoya Basho after landing on his chest during the match. He went to the doctors, I think, after that match, and they told him he suffered severe internal bleeding and a broken rib. And you could tell in his sumo the final 2 days he wanted to stick around. He wanted to keep that Ozeki push going. He hanked Onosho on day 14, didn't want to absorb any of that contact, and then his final loss against Takanosho on day 15, he said he was very tentative. He was just afraid to make contact, and so he lost that match against Takanosho there. But he pretty much took most of August off, but starting on 19th, he was able to lend his chest to younger Rikshi. Still wasn't doing matches, but he did rejoin the Jungyo at that time, and it sounds like he is ready to go for this Basho. But that was an injury I didn't know that Daisho had suffered at that time.
Oof.
To steal a quote from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, internal bleeding is no big deal. That's where the blood's supposed to be, inside, right?
Yeah.
So no wonder he's fine. But honestly, the fact that he was on the receiving end of Butsukari, that's probably one of the things that would be the most painful if a broken rib was still bothering you. So I hope that's a good sign.
Yeah. And then we've got Wakamoto Haru and Koto Nawaka. So Koto Nawaka is making his Sekiwake debut after having 11 wins from the Komosubi rank in the previous Basho. So Mac, Of these three, Rikishi, Daieisho, Wakamoto Haru, and Koto Nawaka, who do you think is most likely to get double digits and continue their Ozeki hopes into November?
Of these three, I would have to give it to Daieisho, purely from the fact of he's hungry. He wants it. I mean, at the end of the last one, knowing that, well, I just said, well, all these guys are hungry. But anyway, day 13, he wanted I know he suffered that broken rib, but he wanted to keep fighting. He wanted to keep participating. I didn't get that from Wakamoto Haru. I want Wakamoto Haru to do well.
No, you don't.
Yeah, okay,
Don't
I
lie.
don't really, but all right, fine. But when I look back at Koto Nawaka, Wakamoto Haru has Koto Nawaka's number. So between the two, I'm like, okay, I'll give the edge to the younger guy. But Daieisho is the only one that's still showing that fire. So I would like Daieisho to continue on.
I like that you have joined the camp of Daieisho Ozeki hopeful. Let's go.
Yes,
It's a
at this
painful.
point, I'm like, all right, let's do it.
It's
There's
a painful
definitely-
ride, but it's a welcome.
Yeah, it's definitely he's definitely the most proven of these three, having that you show from a couple of years back. Like he's felt like he's been on the verge for a while, that's for sure. I think to me, I would I would take Wakamoto Haru just because of, I feel like his style of sumo is the most in the meta right now, if that makes any sense. You know, he's got that, you know, I might group him similar to guys like obviously his brother Wakataka Kage when he was healthy, or Hoshoryu and Kirishima, that like not super huge, very tricky, good belt work, that kind of a thing. I don't know. I think that I think that all three of these guys have some good chances, but yeah, I'm gravitating towards Daieisho as my pick just because of the longer proven history makes me believe in him a little bit more.
Yeah, and I'm going with Koto Nawaka here. He's the younger guy of these three. Kind of what we've seen from our most recent Ozeki promotions are the younger guys. I know Kirishima's, I think he's like 27. Hoshoryu just turned 24. Koto Nawaka, I believe he is 25. So he's on the younger side of things. He's more likely to be on the upswing of his career and not the peak of his career as Daieisho and Wakamoto Haru might be. I think there's a chance these guys are kind of peaking at the Seki Wake rank, whereas Koto Nawaka, he's just ramping up to rise up to Ozeki and beyond. He's wanting to change his Shikona to Koto Zakura, the kind of his family lineage name that he has promised he will do once he achieves the rank of Ozeki. I think he's getting there. Excuse me. He's been on the cusp for a while. I feel like his 11-4 last time, beating guys like Hoshoryu and Daieisho, shows that he can take out some of the top guys in sumo. And Jake, you were talking about Wakamoto Haru's style. It's kind of more in the meta. I don't know how you could be more in the meta than Koto Nawaka right now. All he does is Yorikiri and Oshidashi you out of the ring. So I just feel like he's a young guy. He might. Now we're talking about who's most likely to get double digits this time and continue their Ozeki hopes. Maybe it's not Koto Nawaka. Maybe he's more like first half of next year to kind of this time next year for Ozeki promotion, kind of like Hoshoryu needed that year at Seki Wake to get up there. But I feel like of these three, Koto Nawaka is the most likely to get up there at any point.
Sure.
Maybe most likely to get double digits as Basho. I might put that on Daieisho.
I got you. This
but
Basho versus ever. Yeah. I think I would agree with you on that side of things.
I've liked Koto Nawaka for a while, and I think he's going to make it up to Ozeki sooner rather than later. I think it's a eventuality for him, not a if.
Sure.
So we've talked about the Yokozuna and most of the Ozeki and a lot of injury concerns for a lot of these guys. Once again, we're looking at probably no Terunofuji this Basho. So if that is the case, who is your favorite to win the tournament? Fleric, we'll start with you.
Oh, that's a good question. We didn't even
we-
talk
we
about all the
haven't-
injuries. Who has the surgery? Although I have a guess now of all the names we talked about. So,
But there's
but
one name we haven't brought up, and that is newly promoted Ozeki Hoshoryu, who I'm sure is at the top of the list. But or towards the top of the list. But Flair, would Hoshoryu be at the top of your list for favorite?
He definitely would be. Yeah. Him and Kirishima, probably the two favorites with a Takakeisho a step below.
Yeah, I'm
Would
in the
be
same
probably
boat.
my ranking. Yeah.
I think that's
if I
where
have
I'd put
to,
it.
if I have to say it, I think Kirishima has something to prove, so I'll kind of lean towards him.
I agree with you. I think I would put the edge on Hoshoryu just because as I mentioned, I feel like Kirishima, we haven't heard any new bad things about his health, so he's probably on the mend. But we're starting from a higher point with Hoshoryu,
Yeah.
like, yeah, there's some recency bias to it, but like I have heard no reason other than like the standard, I am trying to
Yeah.
get better. I'm trying to do my sumo, that kind of thing. But like,
Unless he's the one who needs surgery. I have no idea what's going on.
Who needs surgery now?
We'll get to it, Flair. Don't
we're gonna
worry.
wait until after you make your
Yes.
champion picks, and then we'll tell.
Yes.
No,
Yeah,
I'm
that's what
kidding.
I'm discovering apparently.
No, I agree with you though. Hoshoryu, Kirishima's up there. Yeah, there might be some guys lower in the banzuke that might be in that next tier, but yeah, Hoshoryu is my pick, even if it does feel a bit like just recency bias because he won the last one.
How about you, Mac? Who would you are you on the Hoshoryu Kirishima train?
Yeah, I would say it's pretty much a toss up between Hoshoryu and Kirishima to me. I mean, just between the two, I'm like, yeah, I can't decide who's going to come out ahead on this one.
Mm-hmm.
I will also say it feels ripe for a complete dark horse. This Basho feels like it's it would
Who's M17? Who we got?
yeah,
Daishoho. All right.
Oh God, please no. I would not be on board for a Daisho Hoyu show.
maybe not him specifically, but I feel like this is an opportunity for somebody to like step up from out of nowhere. Like, I don't know. Oh no, show's a guy that can pop off and do really good until somebody realizes they can just get out of his way.
Gonoyama.
Tamawashi always, he's got the most grizzling of all the grizzled veterans, and he knows he's got two U shows in his history. Somebody like Meisei that's proven to be a kind of volatile up and comer. I don't know. I think I'd stay with Hoshoryu as the favorite, but that doesn't mean that I think he's more than likely to win it.
Yeah,
Maybe
he's
a
not
lucky
greater than the
surprise.
field.
Yeah, maybe like 20% Hoshoryu or something. Nobody's better than that, but he's still like not super high odds in my opinion.
Yeah, I will say we're kind of currently in a trend where the people who should be winning the U show are winning the U show going back like this entire year. So we look in January, Terunofuji was absent. Who won the U show? A healthy Takakeisho, the next highest guy on the rankings. Then we had Haru. We had Terunofuji once again out. Takakeisho pulled out. Then who do we have win? Sekiwake Wakatak, or not Wakatakage, Sekiwake Kiribayama won the U show.
I miss saying it too, Ryan.
Yeah, I know. He's down in, hey, he might be back. In Natsu, Terunofuji was healthy. He won. And then in Nagoya, Terunofuji pulled out. Takakeisho pulled out. Kirishima pulled out at the beginning of the tournament. Who won? The next highest ranked Sekiwake Hoshoryu. So we are currently in a phase which we hadn't had for the past few years with like the absence of Yokozuna, where the people at the top that aren't hurt are the ones winning the tournaments. And I think that's a good place for us to be, especially if we have a group of 4 guys at the top that have all won tournaments. And I think if we can get them all healthy at one time, that'll be fantastic to pit them all against each other. But I do think, yeah, it's got to be Kirishima or Hoshoryu that this group has proven that they're better than the rest. They're not going to let random Maegashira like Hokuto Fuji last time could have won the U show had that playoff against Hoshoryu gone any different. But these guys are putting the kibosh on that. They're putting their
On the
stamp.
last day.
Yeah, they're putting their stamp on this year of sumo at least, and I think probably going forward. Not so much Terunofuji, but Kirishima and Hoshoryu.
Sure. Yeah, I mean they won their Yusho as Sekiwake, but both were like immediately got that promotion to Ozeki, which makes it feel in hindsight more fitting.
Yeah.
But if you do scroll back, the first like 17, 18 years of this century never happened. There's like 2 or 3 times somebody lower than Ozeki won a Yusho in a span of almost 20 years. We are still in a very, I agree with you. This year, it feels more like moving back into having an upper echelon, like having Hakuho win every tournament he enters, kind of a thing.
Mhm.
But
But
we're
Hakuho is
still-
now spread across 3 or 4 people.
Exactly.
Yes.
And they're still winning
Yeah.
because that's how
They've
good
taken
Hakuho
each
was.
part of his name at some point.
Yeah.
So it's like they're just going to keep dividing Hakuho up at this stage.
But I'm just, I just wanted to call that out. Like, we're still in an extraordinarily volatile era, but yes, 2023 so far has been slightly less so, I guess.
Yeah.
as
And we're
far
also
as
not
actual
too
champs.
far away from 3 straight Maegashira Yusho to
That-
close out last year.
Very near in the rearview mirror here. Yeah.
All right.
I'll be curious how they do. If they have another strong showing where all the kind of Ozeki are in the Yusho race who are healthy,
Mhm.
I think I might be switching. I might be switching my thought about that. They might be
Yeah.
the kind of like the person like who is going to be in the Yusho race the entire time.
We could feasibly be looking at if one of these 3 Ozeki takes it away, we could be looking at a Yokozuna run for Kyushu. So something to keep our eyes on. Let's talk about some other injuries further down the banzuke. First up at Maegashira 2, we have Asanoyama, who it's not his biceps that kept him out of the
bringing it back
previous
down.
tournament. It was it's now a big toe that he injured during the Jungyo tour on August 27th. A quote that I got from him is, "Tomorrow I'll tape it over with lots of tape and try to do some sumo. I don't have time. I don't intend to go Kyujo. The next 2 Basho are crucial for me." So the big thing that I'm getting from Asanoyama is that toe is bothering him, but also he's feeling the urgency in his career. I think he is 29 at this point. Yeah, he is 29 years old.
Over the
And
hill.
so
boy.
I think
Yeah.
he's really kind of feeling the urgency, especially saying like the next 2 Basho are crucial for me. I'm not
Oh, that's interesting.
100% sure like why
When's
he's
his
placing
birthday? That's what I'm kinda
March.
wondering.
Are
Oh,
you trying to find that exact teetering point?
so
Blair?
he has this Basho, Kyushu, and Hatsu. So he has 3 Basho before he turns 30.
Yeah, I wonder
Yeah.
if that's what he means by a deadline, or maybe just the end of
Mm.
this calendar year is a deadline or something like that.
Yeah, but it sounds like this is somebody that's feeling the urgency in his career, and I think we saw that with him returning way too soon from that biceps injury
Mm.
to scrap together a winning record in the previous Basho. So Asanoyama's definitely going to be going for it. He's going to be going balls to the wall. He's going to be doing whatever he can, injuries be damned, to try. I think he's doing everything he can get back up to that Ozeki rank.
Definitely.
Then we have at Komosubi, we have Nishikigi, who apparently in that open practice with the YDC, he injured his right calf. And he said it felt like a pull and it will be okay, but it's sumo, so that's probably not the case.
The muscle could be completely detached from the calf. It's fine.
2 weeks rest.
Yeah, it's a pull, pulled right off the bone.
Mm.
I will say the fact that we even know it happened means it's probably more serious than something that would
Yes.
like if I pulled my calf or something, I would immediately be whining about it, obviously, right? But this
Yeah.
guy's a pro sumo wrestler. For us to even know about it means it must be kind of serious.
Exactly.
Yeah, to go back to the Consulates Cup real quick, one of the top 5 light heavyweights in the country, Jared Tadlock, is out for like potentially like half a year because of a calf injury. One of the problems with a calf injury that he's brought up, you can't really do anything else. Like you can't just like, oh, I'll take it easy on my shoulder. I'll just go running, I'll work on cardio, or, I'll work on leg presses or something like that. You can't really run. You can't really swim, bike, like all this stuff that you would be doing to stay in shape. I guess Nishikigi's just going to like stay on the bench press for a while now or something like that. Like there's it's one of those debilitating things. I'm sure the big toes are similar where it's just like, what now? What do I do to stay in shape?
Your balance is completely off. Just pain every time you walk.
Yeah. I shared this Nishikigi fact on the Aki Banzuke review episode, but for the benefit of Fleric and Mac and anybody who might not listen to those Banzuke episodes,
Yeah.
we had been talking about Is Nishikigi possibly the oldest Rikishi to make his Sanyaku debut? Because Nishikigi is doing that at 33 years old. And I did some hot spreadsheet action to figure it out. Turns out he is not the oldest Rikishi to make his Sanyaku debut. At 33 years and 2 weeks old, he is going to be the 17th oldest Rikishi to make his Sanyaku debut, but a lot of that is muddled by Rikishi back in the early 1900s and 1800s, and that just doesn't count because
it always gets weird back then.
History isn't real, and
History
but
isn't real.
if you look at the modern era, 1958 and beyond, he is the 5th oldest Rikishi to make his Sanyaku debut. I saw a stat online that as far as like Basho competed in, he's the 3rd slowest to make it up to the Sanyaku ranks. But the other 4 Rikishi that are older than Nishikigi that made their Sanyaku debut, none of them had a winning record. None of them made it back into the Sanyaku ranks in their career. And 3 out of 4 of them had 3-12 records. And with this news of a calf injury for Nishikigi, I'm a little bit worried about the Eater of Worlds here and what might be coming for him. Might not be a great tournament. Might not be seeing the dominant form return for Nishikigi, but we'll see. Maybe he will be fine for the tournament. And then we get to Haku Oho. He has the shoulder injury that has been obvious since he debuted. It's been wrapped up in more tape than I've seen anybody put on any body part. And the shoulder injury kept him out of the Jungyo tour. He was quoted saying, "My condition is not good. I am only doing what I can at this point. I don't know what will happen. Even if I go Kyujo and drop to Juryo, the goal isn't to remain in Makuuchi at all costs. I just want to be at my best in order to fulfill my dream." And then we got news last night that he had surgery on his shoulder on August 31st and will be absent from the Aki Basho, possibly multiple Basho, which would send him back down to Makushita. So on that note, he will not have a chance to get the most wins through a Rikishi's first 5 Basho, unfortunately. But that also means we will no longer need to track who has the most wins through X number of Bashos. And for that,
it's going to start getting complicated.
Less work for us. Yeah,
very thankful for that. But so this is the one, Flair. Were you able to?
I thought for some reason this was someone who needs surgery wasn't going to get it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. A la Kisei no Sato, but no. This is it's very sad. Yeah, that's the case, but like his mind's in the right place. Hopefully he comes back healthy and we'll be able to do some damage later. So I'm not nearly as sad. I completely misinterpreted what you said. So I'm much more okay with this.
I mean, as we mentioned with Takakeisho, like the younger you are, the faster you heal, right? So it's good. This isn't something he's just gonna like power through until his arm falls off at 28 or something, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I am happy he's gonna get the surgery. If he misses this one, he'll probably be in upper Juryo. Misses another one, he might be in lower Juryo or even upper Makushita.
I think if he misses 2, he'll be in Makushita.
You think so? Okay.
I think an 0-15 in Juryo, no matter where you are, you're out.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. But regardless, it doesn't sound like a full year or something like that. It sounds like a Basho, maybe 2 or 3. And I hope that it's no more than that because he is the absolute hottest prospect that we've seen in years. So really want to see him get back in there.
Yeah, and he just turned 20, so we'll see him back before he turns 21. Maybe not in the top division, but yeah, he's been suffering from a shoulder subluxation, which is a partial or incomplete dislocation of the shoulder. Just quick Google search says 12 to 16 weeks to fully heal. It sounded like the reason it took till August 31st to get the surgery is they were just trying to see if like resting and some other stuff, non-surgery option would work. It just wasn't getting to where it needed to be. And so him and Miyagi no Oyakata made the decision to get the surgery. And if what we saw from Haku Oho with a partially dislocated shoulder, what is he going to look like when he comes back with a hopefully fully healthy shoulder? Yeah.
Well, I do think he had surgery on his shoulder before, I'm pretty sure, like in high school.
Did he have surgery before? I
Yeah,
knew he had
I'm fairly-
taken time off, but I didn't know before, like after the end of his amateur career, before he started professional. I didn't know if there was a surgery in there, if he was just trying to rest it.
Yeah, I'll try to see if I can confirm it, but I'm fairly certain this would be his second surgery on that shoulder.
Okay.
So
Well, hopefully this one's better.
Yeah.
We're gonna reintroduce the Thrive or Take a Dive segment. We're usually going way over on time on these, so we usually cut this. But we have 6 Rikishi at their career high rank. Hoshoryu, Kotonowaka, Nishikigi, Gonoyama, Shonanuumi, and Haku Oho. But we have a good idea of who Hoshoryu and Kotonowaka are. Don't really need to discuss them here. Nishikigi is reportedly injured. He's a really good answer for taking a dive. And Haku Oho is just got surgery and he's not going to be participating. So we're left with 2 other newcomers that are exciting and up at the Makuuchi 5 or Maegashira 5 rank. Those are Gonoyama and Shonanuumi. So we'll start with Mac. Who is more likely to keep thriving and rise up the banzuke, and who is more likely to take a dive down the banzuke?
I like how you started this segment. We have 6, but then you just whittled it down.
But we know what we got with
6
4 of
down
them.
by 4.
And here
I'm
are
like,
the
well,
2
then-
you may choose from.
It's like, well, here are the 2 you get. I'm like, well, okay. Between the 2, I would have to go with Gonoyama actually thriving at this point. I mean, he does have the former Goeido teaching him. I know you hate that, Ryan, but
That's a
former
positive.
Yeah. Ryan's gonna pick with his heart in this category, I think.
I know that.
Oh, yeah. Shonanuumi, like, rocket straight up. Gonoyama, this is
To
as
the
far
moon.
as he goes. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if that guy's back down in Jurio after this Basho after an offer. Not even
And
an
then,
injury offer, just a good old fashioned, you can't win a single match.
The competitive 0-15, no absences over. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then by process of elimination between the 2, I think I'm gonna have to go with Shonanuumi to take a dive.
I'm going to agree with Ryan, but using logic and thought as opposed to blind hatred and sarcastic rivalry building. I'm going to show some solidarity with my Ohio native fellow Jake Cullison. I'm picking Shonanuumi because I think his style is more fitting for the upper echelons. Gonoyama is pretty heavy on the pushing style, and there are obviously exceptions like Takakeisho and Abi that reach the top and still can make a nearly pure pushing style work. Gonoyama is a little bit more balanced than those guys. He's not like deathly allergic to the Mawashi. But Shonanuumi is a lot more balanced. He has almost exactly the same number of wins by Yorikiri, Oshidashi, and Hitaki Komi. He has more tricks in the bag. He's a more balanced guy style-wise. I think that's more likely to do well in these upper echelons. So that's my pick. I don't think Gonoyama is a slouch, and I don't think he's going to really like take a dive. But relative to each other, I have higher expectations for Shonanuumi.
And that's what I meant with my pick for Shonanuumi. It's like, well,
Yeah,
do I have
exactly.
to pick somebody to take a dive?
Yeah,
Fine.
it's not that I think he's going to crash and burn. It's just I
Right,
think the other
right.
guy's going to do better. Yeah.
Yes.
I will say that despite Goeido's training of him, like when like
You gotta let that
Gonoyama
go.
is talented enough to overcome the training deficit that he's getting. Like, but the first 5 days, like days 6 through 11, like just something seemed off with Gonoyama. But the first 5 days and like the last 4 days were pretty the same that we saw down in Jurio, where he's just so fast, so powerful. He doesn't let you do anything. Like, yeah, he's a pusher thruster, but he's so fast. It just doesn't let you get into your game at all and just overwhelms you before you can even respond to anything. Which, as he gets to the higher ranks, probably has a limited ceiling. But when he's on and when his sumo is working, he's just so fast and so powerful and quick out the gate to get you out. It is very impressive sumo to watch.
He takes the initiative. And a lot of the times that does translate to pusher thruster style. But yes, that intensity is definitely one of his strengths for sure.
Yeah. What about you, Flarek? You got a preference between these two?
I was looking at these 2. I definitely am. I was looking at the ranking. So Gonoyama is M5 East. Shonanuumi is M5 West.
Yep.
Looking at their birthdays, Gonayama is April 7th, and Shonan no Umi is April 8th.
Oh my God.
Ooh.
Isn't that wild? So
I was
Okay.
curious where you were
Nice.
going with that, because that's
That is
how is that going to
nuts.
be relevant? I like that.
yeah, it's so obviously, yeah, it's going to be Gonayama is one day
He's one
older.
day earlier.
and one day older, one rank higher. So I'm gonna have to give him the edge. It's not yet 30, so he has that a little bit closer to that grizzly veteran, but not yet 30. That little the kind of the place where you want to be. So I got to give it to Gonoyama, and mostly because all the stuff. I don't know. He was just good to watch. I liked watching him a lot, and especially him doing well just makes Brian so sad. Is also a little bit more, which I'd love to.
That's a
Why-
good point. That's
Why are we
important.
always wanting to make Ryan sad on this podcast? Why are we never like, ooh, that's going to make Fleric sad. That makes me happy. It's always Ryan sad makes others happy.
Back off? Fleric is a treasure.
I
You
know I love him
leave
so
Fleric
much.
alone.
Don't mess with my boy Fleric, Ryan.
You
You know what? I'm
leave
gonna
him
root against.
alone.
I'm gonna root for Gonoyama even harder now.
Yeah.
All right. And let's kind of pick through the rest of the top division and find any other Rikishi we might want to talk about. Jake, are there any Rikishi between the ranks of Maegashira 1 through 4 that we haven't discussed yet that you want to shine a bit of a spotlight on? Hey, Jake, you're muted.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's gonna happen again. Probably.
He meant to do that.
99% of the time it's good because you don't hear me coughing or burping or taking a slurp of whatever I'm having a drink of or something like that. But yeah, you're right. I do forget at least once an episode now.
Yep.
Wanted to bring up Hokuto Fuji. He got all the way to a playoff last time. He's shown in the past that he can be kind of a streaky wrestler. If he's doing good, he's likely to continue doing really good, and vice versa, as opposed to, being consistently in the middle or something. I'm curious to see if this is another flash in the pan for him, or if he can make it stick being up in those upper ranks again.
All right. Fleric, anybody between the ranks of Maegashira 5 and Maegashira 8 that we haven't discussed already you want to shine a light on?
Yeah, the two big for me are looking at this are Takayasu and Oho. They both had kind of losing records going into the last Basho, and they're kind of people who, I don't know, we've been kind of waiting for them to do well. So I'm kind of keeping an eye on. Hopefully they could do pretty well, but I don't know. We'll see how they go.
I'm starting to get worried about Takayasu.
Yeah.
I feel like he's been injured all this year. He's not recovering. I think he had to pull out of the Jungyo tour at one point for some sort of back injury, and we know he's had a history of back issues. So I'm wondering if we might just kind of be seeing that gradual decline for Takayasu at this point, kind of we had with Tochi Noshin and a few other Rikishi. I'm wondering if we're at that point with Takayasu now.
Gonna go ahead and say hard disagree. Looking at his record recently, though, 2022 he had that banger year where he had 3 Junyu shows and a bunch of prizes and stuff like that, and he kept breaking our hearts over and over again. We're barely removed from that. I think he's still got a couple years in him.
It's
I know he's withdrawn from 2 tournaments this year and hasn't looked super great in the ones that he has been in. But I think he's gotta just cling to the fact that he's like the same grade as us. He's our age, like almost exactly. And I gotta feel that there's at least 1 or 2 more years of prime physical health there for my own sake as much as his.
It could be, but I think the talent has kind of risen up to another tier, and because of that, I think that's why Takayasu's Junyoshu days are gonna have he's gonna have a hard time.
22 was his window. It was his window where we didn't have Hoshoryu and Kirishima really hitting that full stride just yet. And at the same time, Hakuho and Terano Fuji were either gone or injured a bunch of times. 22 was the window. If it was going to happen, it would have been there. But regardless, I think that the injuries are obviously going to start piling up as he gets into his early to mid 30s, but I don't think we're quite done yet. I'm hoping for at least one more one more Broken Heart Junyu show before he calls it a day.
Yeah, now those all the 20-year-olds are not just dumb young athletes that don't know
Yeah,
what they're
now
doing.
they're 22-year-olds and they're really, really good.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Such a bummer.
hmm
Mac, anybody between the ranks of Maegashira 9 and 13 that are catching your eye?
Well, there's one that caught my eye for some negative reasons because I want him to turn it around and do well. And that's Dishiki Fuji. I'm like, I like this guy. I like what he's done. I like that he's got some accolades to his name. He's got a fighting spirit prize. He's won a couple of different divisions. He's still young. He's on a little bit of a slip right now. I really want him to pull back. And the other reason I wanted to highlight him is because he is one of 3 Rikishi from Aomori, and I freaking loved that city when I was in Japan. So come on, man, do your region proud.
Who else is from Aomori?
Onosho and Takara Fuji.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah,
He also
I'm
went to
with
Kinki University, which is pretty
Ooh.
cool.
I'm with you, Mac. I actually really like this guy. I think when he came up and did really well, I was excited. But unfortunately, he's been having some rough bosses. So I'm hoping he can kind of hopefully get over whatever he's kind of dealing with and have a breakout basho again.
So come on, ganbate, come on, do it.
I'm gonna break the rules a little bit.
Wait,
One
what?
of our podcast personal favorites, Hokuseiho, is in this range. And what are our expectations for Hokuseiho back down in the double-digit Maegashira range? Like he kind of, I feel like he got exposed a little bit last Basho. Do we think that trend continues, or do we think down at this lower range he is able to kind of turn it around, get another winning record? Because I'm not sure.
I'm going to pull a Ryan here and decide that, similar to Ryan's opinion on Oho, Hokuseiho hasn't made Yokozuna at 21, so he's washed up. He's nothing.
Fair.
Just needs
Never
to
gonna
learn
let
to
you live
use
that
his
one down.
other hand.
I
Use
have
your
yet
other
to be-
hand, dude.
I have yet to be proven wrong on Oho, Jake. So I'm living nothing down.
He's been a
I am
he's
still
been a
riding
Maegashira
high.
mainstay, like top 40 in the world for like years now. He's doing just fine for himself, and he's got plenty of
Relatively
time.
washed up. Relatively washed up.
Hokuseiho, I still yes, I think that he has to add to his game if he's going to take the next step, but he's definitely going to be I barring injury, I do not expect him to have trouble staying in the top division. That sheer size, that sheer just like looming weight, putting himself on top of guys and tiring them out until he can find his opening to do his big overhand throws. I think he's going to be fine for the short term. But if he wants to take the next step up, there have to be some innovations and some improvements for sure.
All right. Going back to the correct rules, I'm picking a Rikishi between Maegashira 14 to 17, and I want to highlight Atami Fuji making his way back up to the top division. We don't have any Rikishi making their Makuuchi debut. The 2 Rikishi that came up from Drew this Basho are Atami Fuji, exciting, yay, young, fun, and Kagayaki, boo, who cares? But for
Less so.
Atami Fuji, I feel like the bottom of the banzuke is very ripe for a good record. Like last Basho, we had Haku Oho, Gonoyama, Shonano Umi, which were all newcomers, but obviously proved that they were people to be reckoned with and all got double-digit wins down here. I'm not seeing that with anybody down here with him. He's surrounded by Aoyama, who he was able to stave off demotion to Juryo last time. Is he going to be able to do that again? Chiyoshima, Tsurugisho, Kakayaki, Daishoho. Who are we afraid of down here? Not a whole lot. So I think Atami Fuji, if he's healthy and he keeps up his form that he had the past couple of Basho down in Juryo, where he had 13 wins and 11 wins, I think he could do some damage down here at the bottom of the banzuke. Maybe be a surprise, like 6-2, 7-1 on the midway episode, and then we'll talk about him and say, well, no, he's a pretender. Once he goes up against higher ranked people, he'll drop down. I think he's in that range
Sure.
for this Basho.
I think it's funny that we've been through enough Basho that we're like, oh, I can see him doing well at the midway and then doing bad.
Yes.
He's in that position. No, I agree with you. I just think it's funny that we can see that potential future so clearly.
Or this Basho's ripe for a midfielder to win the whole thing.
I did say that, didn't I?
Maybe he is, maybe not Daishoho, bottom of the banzuke, but maybe a Tommy Fuji.
I'd be okay
Mostly
with the Tommy
bottom of the
Fuji.
banzuke.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be Oho, and then I'm gonna have to.
It's
eat crow.
probably going to be Oho.
God, I can't wait for him like pulling like a Mitakeumi style career and eventually blowing up and like doing really well. And I'm gonna rub Ryan's face in it every time.
Already too late for Mataki Yumi style career. He hasn't made it up to the Sanyaku ranks fast enough. So Juryo and lower. I think Juryo is kind of keep staying exciting. We've kind of had a constant churn of new people coming through and proving their worth, with like Kinbozan, Hokuseiho giving way to Haku Oho, Gonoyama, Shonan no Umi, and I think they're giving way this time to 4 newcomers that are all young and exciting. We have Takahashi, who is 24 years old. He debuted in July of last year, and he has not won less than 5 matches in a Basho at this point. So when he hit Makushita, he didn't slow down at all. He is in Nishonoseki stable with the former Kisono Sato, so he is one of his pupils here. We also have Asakoryu, who is previously known as Ishizaki, so he had his Shikona changed. He's also 24 years old. He debuted as a Sandanme Tsukedashi in May of 2021, winning his Yusho in that debut Basho. He has made it up to the Sekitori ranks. Then we have Ono Sato, the 23-year-old who debuted in May of this year at Makushita 10, who was possibly a hotter prospect than Haku Oho was coming into Sumo. I'm not saying he is now, but when they were both coming in, he was a hotter prospect. And he's alongside Takahashi. I believe those two are friends in Nishonoseki. I think Takahashi being there is one of the reasons why Ono Sato went to that stable. I think. Could be completely wrong. And then we also have 10 Shoho, previously known as Mukai Nakano. I believe it's our patron Moshogeru had brought our attention to Mukai Nakano, wanted us to talk more about him. But he is 20 years old. He debuted in July of 2021. He won a Sandanme Yusho, and he is part of Miyagino stable alongside Hokuseiho and Haku Oho. So Miyagino is just churning out the new Sekitori right now. So I think the bottom... So much. Yeah. I think the bottom of Juryo is once again going to be exciting. We'll see which one of these guys can separate themselves and possibly get double-digit wins this Basho.
Yeah, we've said it before, but I got to say it every time it comes up here. But the rivalry between Hakuho and Kisono Sato as coaches is just so, it's heated up so much that when there are new prospects like this, it's like, which of those two are you going to go to? And yeah, they are picking up all the hottest amateur wrestlers coming into pro sumo, and yeah, it is. I really think that's going to be one of the big storylines of the next era of sumo. It's super cool to me.
Also in Juryo, Wakataka Kake has resumed practicing. I've seen footage of him on a dojo doing some training and stuff. I don't know if that means he's going to be ready for this Basho, but it's not out of the realm of possibility to see Wakataka Kake back on the dojo this Basho. Then some news, Aki Seyama retired. He had made it up to the top division a couple of years ago, and I mean, for the last time a couple of years ago. He's kind of a fan favorite, just a funny looking fella, jovial.
He has a unique physique.
Yes. Chairman Hakaku had his Kanreki Dohyo Iri, which is a special Dohyo Iri performed by former Yokozuna for their 60th birthday. So he did that this past week. I'm looking forward to when our Yokozuna, like Kisono Sato, Haruma Fuji, Kakuryu, Hakuho, all go through that. I don't know if you have to be a member still of the JSA to have that, or if they'll invite, like, because Haruma Fuji is the only one who's still not a member of the JSA. So I wonder if him being out of that, if that affects it at all. I'm not sure. But also wanted a quick update. Sorry. Bug was crawling on me, and I did not like that. Have a quick
Gotta burn the house down now.
Yeah,
on Enho, who we haven't seen in action for a while. So he had spent 2 weeks in the hospital in May with a herniated disc. As we all know, he's been suffering from like neck issues for a while. But just recently, he was able to put on a black mawashi and resume practicing sumo at the end of August. He is going to be sitting out of the Aki Basho. But here is a quote from Enho, who is he down in Sandanme?
He will be
this
next
point?
time. He's in
Okay.
Mid-Makushita right now.
Mid-Makushita right now. So Enho had said, at the time, I was desperate to defend my rank. I was driven and fearless, but now I'm free from feeling pushed. I have been given time to rest and think, and I want to take this opportunity to rebuild my body from the ground up. No matter how far I might fall in rankings, I am determined to get back in the ring. So it doesn't sound like this is going to be a Ishiura situation, who we saw sit out Basho after Basho with a neck injury and decide to call it a career. It sounds like Enho is determined to get back in the ring. So hopefully we will get our diminutive favorite Rikishi Enho back on the dojo sooner rather than later, and hopefully fully healthy and rising back up to the salaried ranks.
Yeah, even if he doesn't make it all the way back up there, he hit a peak where he had a match against a Yokozuna. And the weest boy to do so in the entire time we've been watching sumo, that's for sure.
Yep.
But yeah, what was that? He lost to Kakuryu in Haru of 2020. But the fact that he faced him, that's a little small boy achievement right there. That is nothing to laugh at.
That's crazy to me that it was 2020 when he was that high.
More than 3 years ago now.
Doesn't feel that long ago, but man,
I guess it is.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and then on the other side of the break, we'll have our GSB belt update, our champ chump predictions, and then the playing of my punishment for losing the July Basho.
I am so excited for that one. You had to write a lot of words.
It was fun.
If you enjoy the Grand Sumo Breakdown podcast, you can leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast listening service.
You can find us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just search for Grand Sumo Breakdown.
Support the show on Patreon and check out our blog, grandsumobreakdown.wordpress.com.
If you have any questions, comments, or corrections, drop us a line at grandsumobreakdown@gmail.com or give us a call at 805-613-7866. That's 805-613-SUMO.
Also, watch us on YouTube.
Welcome back. I'm going to cover the GSB belt real quick. Real quick, because it's basically one sentence long here. Or
Jake,
maybe
what
we should.
is the
Why don't we
GSB
cover what
belt?
it is?
Yeah.
Stretch out the segment a little.
Yes.
The short answer is that Toki Hayate has it, and he's finally in Juryo, and maybe I can breathe a little easier on that.
And he's up at Juryo 11, so if we do have an uneven number of Rikishi, he's not going to be going up against a Makushita Rikishi right away, possibly dropping
Right.
back down.
Odds are better than they have been in the past that the belt will stay there.
Mhm.
But for those of you who are new to the GSB belt, this is our second iteration. We've done this experiment a couple. Well, no, we did it the one time. It's just that the second time has taken forever. But we started the GSB belt, the very first one, all the way back in the beginning of 2019, the Kyushu Basho. We just said, okay, the winner of the very first match of the Basho is the GSB belt holder. They're the GSB champion. And whoever beats them takes the belt. And we wanted to see how long it took for that belt to work its way all the way up to the top of the banzuke from the bottom. And the first one, yes, like I said, started at the end of 2019. This guy won it, then that guy won it. Ura had it for a while. Then Chinokuni had it for a while both of those guys were on their way back up from injury. And it eventually made its way to the top division. It took 93 matches to get all the way up to the Yokozuna from the very bottom of Jonakuchi. And for reference, we are now at 94 matches on the second GSB belt, and we have just entered Juryo. This final phase definitely takes some time. Let's see. The first time that we got to Juryo in the last one, it took 31 matches to get to Juryo. So it took 3 times as long to get there. And then the last belt, it took roughly 60 matches to get from the bottom of Juryo to the top of Makuuchi. So it might be a minute.
Yeah.
The second iteration of the belt was cursed to stay at the top of Makushita forever. And we finally broke through. It's not the first time we broke through. It happened twice before and immediately got bumped right back down.
Went back down.
It can go back down by somebody from Makushita being temporarily brought up to Juryo to have a match against a wrestler when we have like an uneven number or something. So it's possible the belt will go back down, but Juryo 11 is the highest that it's been. In the past, it hit Juryo 13 once. And where was the other one? Was it? Oh, maybe it was just the one time. No,
Oshoma.
Happened 2 times, but both times it went straight to Juryo 13 and then right back down. So we'll see what happens. But I know there's a couple fans out there that follow this as closely as we do. I am excited for maybe getting a little bit more interesting this time. We'll see what happens.
My guess is their interest is going to wane, as if it stays in Juryo, then we're not sad because it's
the sadness was part of the fun. That's for sure.
Yes.
But was it Tim and Leonard that were following this? Yeah. So it might just kind of slowly work its way up to the top of Makuuchi. And that's not as fun as just this endless saddening curse
Cycle.
And I know Rob Lunsford has been following that as well.
Oh,
All
yeah,
right,
yeah.
Let's move
Anyways,
on
though.
to our chump predictions. Each Basho, each one of us will pick a Rikishi that we will designate as our champ, and the better that Rikishi does, the higher our score is, and we each pick a Rikishi that we designate as our chump. The worse they do, the higher our score goes for those Rikishi. I lost the previous tournament, so I get the first pick for champ this Basho. And
Who won that one, though?
that was you, Jake.
Oh, that's right.
That was
Thank you.
So you get the
Aw.
last pick in this round. But
if I can rub it in, I'll live with that.
Yeah.
Just a little
I
bit.
think we all know who the first 2 picks are going to be. We talked about who our favorites were. And I'm leaning on the side of Kirishima. I think he's got a little bit something to prove. He's a little desperate. He's caught up on. And like I said, the reports that I've gotten, that I've seen from his training, he's been absolutely dynamite. So I'm going with Kirishima to be my champ.
That was the one that I wanted, but okay,
Good.
I get number 2. Hoshoryu. Come on, baby.
All right. So that was pretty straightforward.
Yep,
We're,
Pretty chalk. Pretty
Mhm.
chalk right there. So Fleric, what are you going to pick for the third champ?
This is interesting. I think I am going to take a little bit of risk, and go with Takakeisha.
Okay. All right.
Apparently he did well at that YDC Soken.
Did he?
Is what I read. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think it was rough against the Sekiwaki and up, but I think everyone else apparently did pretty well. So
There's only like 5 of those, so.
yeah.
All right, Jake.
Hey, 10-5 is pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
This looks rough for you, Jake.
Yeah. This is as you mentioned earlier that like the guys that are supposed to be winning the U shows are at the top. We don't really have anybody who is way below where they should be, where their talent is.
The one guy who is Haku Oho
Is now out.
yeah. Haku Oho would have been a for sure pick if he was healthy, obviously.
Because that's what you had last time. I mean, that's what helped you win last one.
And Mitaki Yumi is the only guy that is down this low that has like a really, really good history, but he's been on a downslide. I can't trust him. So I got to gamble. And a couple of them, since I'm last, I can detail this out because I don't need to worry about you guys stealing my thoughts here. Gonoyama, Shonan Naomi are both tempting picks to gamble on. Atami Fuji is a very tempting one. That's a higher risk, higher reward, I think. We got some other younger guys like Hokuseiho, Hiradoumi that are below their highest ever rank that might work their way back up there. I think I'm going to stick with my fellow Jake from Ohio here and go all in on Shonan Naomi, though. I'm going to put my money where my
Interesting.
mouth is, and that's the gamble I'm going to take that I already feel like I shouldn't have done.
Well, at least you
It could
get
pay off.
Yeah, that's I don't know who I would have taken, so I can't really fault you for that pick.
That's a tough
Yeah,
one.
yeah. There were no standouts for
No,
sure.
wait, I do know. I would have taken Koto Nawaka. You're a fool. Fool. So you do get the first pick
Nishikigi.
for your. Okay.
Oh, dang. No thought
you.
on that one.
Thank you. Because if he had fallen to me, I think I would have had to take him, but I've been so snake bit with Chump Nishikigi that I would have been so scared.
This one feels like a safer gamble despite the recent success. Not just the injury thing, but like this is absolutely like this is a bubble ready to burst at a moment's notice.
Dang it.
All right.
I wanted that one. I wanted him.
What do you think,
All right.
Eric?
I think there's a couple people with injuries, which are tempting. So, but
Like Asanoyama?
yeah,
Daisho.
but there's something about Komosubi Tobizaru
Oh,
that
well,
I'm
he did
just
have a rough time doing the Jungyo.
a little bit sus of. So I'm gonna go with Tobizaru.
Okay.
Mac.
The gentleman that seems to have lost all fire, Koto Shoho.
Okay.
Okay. That's a stronger opinion than I have on him for sure.
Yeah.
That he's lost all fire?
Yeah, I don't know. Interesting pick. I think
He's got
that's
3 straight losing records. I don't think that's a bad pick necessarily.
No, I think you might be onto something, Mac.
We'll see. I could be wrong.
All right.
Absolutely could.
Now I'm in the position Jake was in because I don't feel like there's any obvious choices left.
Right. Yeah.
And I can delay this out and explain my thought process, of which
Bingo,
I
have at
have I can't pick Hokuto Fuji to be my chump. That's just not happening. And I have faith of everybody else in the Joy to at least get a semi-respectable record. Like I'm looking for those double-digit loss guys, and I'm not seeing nobody left in the Joy is really jumping out at me as that. I have too much faith in Gonan Yama and Shonan Naomi. Part of me is like Takayasu. We've been talking about him being hurt. Mitake Yumi, like he was absolutely a mess last Basho, but now he's down at Maegashira 11. I don't know that I can count on him to continue being a mess. I think I don't have faith in Aoyama being able to put together another winning record. I think he bought himself a little bit of room from the bottom, from going down to Juryo, and I think possibly we see him kind of slide back down to a little bit lower. I think he's got high potential for like 6 wins, but after Nishikigi last Basho, I will effing take it.
Yeah. And honestly, I'm like looking through this. Yeah, I feel like everybody is ranked kind of where they should be. Like nobody's obvious picks. And I think anybody Maegashira 9 or lower feels like an okay chump pick, you know?
Yeah.
Didn't we conclude that Oyama can string together a 10-digit win at some point during a year?
This is a big risky pick for Ryan for sure.
I was about to say, he hasn't done it yet.
Listen, Aoyama's 37 and he's no Tamawashi. He is in gradual decline mode. He had his nice little moment last time where he strung together 7 straight wins to end the tournament. I think that was the hot, streaky Aoyama we're getting this year. I think we're going to go back to...
You say he's no Tamawashi. I would counter with he's probably about 1.5 Tamawashi. Fair. But I get your point.
Yep. All right, so Jake, what is our punishment going to be for this Basho?
We did not talk about this whatsoever ahead of time.
No, we didn't.
No, we did not.
What have the last couple ones be? We can kind of cheat the rules this time and just pick one we haven't done in a while.
Song.
We did a movie scene somewhat recently.
Movie scene.
Is it time for somebody to write poetry?
We did Dr. Seuss in January.
Okay.
Or I did Dr. Seuss off of November. You did the D20 after January. We have commercial writing.
There's a good one. Why don't we do that? So loser has to write commercials for each of the November podcasts.
Yeah,
let's do it.
I like it.
Haven't
right,
done that in a
commercial.
while. Let's write it down though, so that we remember to
yes,
do it.
please.
Yep.
Like, oh crap.
All right, and now we get to my punishment from losing the July tournament. It was to write a sumo parody song. And Jake, as the winner, what song did you choose for me to write a parody of?
I desperately wanted to punish you with as much work as possible, so I picked the song that had more words than any other song that's ever been written. No, it's up there as far as, you know, big hits. I picked Semi-Charmed Life by Third Eye Blind. So Ryan wrote Semi-Harmed Life.
Mhm.
Did I come up with that title?
No, absolutely not.
No.
Don't try to take credit for any of this.
I thought I might have.
No,
Mm.
I have
don't know.
no long preamble setting this song up like I did before my Defying Gravity parody last year. I'll just say a lot of the conversation we have today is highlighted in this song. So Jake, whenever you're ready, go ahead and I do need a preamble. A little bit.
Hold on.
Everybody remembers the Defying Gravity parody. I am not a good singer, so don't expect anything.
Ryan, this is a punishment.
I'm tone
We
deaf.
get it.
I'm tone deaf. I can't sing good. I don't that's not a skill I have. So I apologize up front, but I still think it's I like the contents of the song, even if it's performed.
Just
not
remember, everyone,
the
it's
heart.
the thought that counts.
Your heart
yeah.
was in this one.
Be nice. I know I'm not good. I'm sorry.
All right, here we go.
I'm hurt and I'm aching, I'm limping, I'm bleeding, I'm rolling in the wheelchair. In that huge wheelchair, the doctor. I need to see a doctor. I should not be able to see bone. And the clicky feeling in my knees is new. No feeling in my fingers too. Is that out to you? Keep on fighting cause I have to. Cannot sit out and trump from Yaku. And I tell the doc that my rank is on the line. Please turn a blind eye to my health that's in decline. Gotta find a way to take the stage. If I don't, then I will not get paid. I need Tylenol to get me through this semi-hard kind of life. Ooh, geez, that's once I heard something else. My certificate says I'm healed in 3 weeks. Ouch, 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 ouch. The tape will hold, so it goes. I'm enveloped from my top down to my toes. I wanna make it through this fight, then the next fight. Hoping in the next if I don't break. Fighting all these men that throw me down until I ache. They won't stop. My strains and sprains, I get knocked off the 2-foot doyo. A bump from the drop and then I crash down. I took the hit that I was given, then I bumped again. Then I bumped again. I said, how do I get back up to my feet when I just shattered both my knees? How do I get myself back down? The Hana Ichi. I need some morphine to get me through this semi-hard kind of life. Oh God, the pain, I heard something else. My certificate says I'm healed in 3 weeks. This new lump on my neck just grows and grows. My chest has a feeling, a burning feeling. I cannot breathe in through my nose. The pain in my hips can make me cry. When I'm sleeping, plus oozes from my eye. My health is in rapid decline. And when the ambulance arrived at the clinic, the doctors were shocked that one body could be this hurt and still be alive. Now I'm struggling to survive. The state of my organs is such a mess. Drain that access is in distress. My frontal rib shattered, burning distress. Morphine shot in my belly so my rank can progress up. And I'm standing, but I'm broken. Still it's all that I want to do, just to lay right down, call it quits. Exit with a bow, I'm scared, am I wheelchair bound? Oh no, and this might ruin my life. But I'm back up now, somehow on that doyo, and I am not alright. alright. And I need opiates to get me through this pain. I need to take a long break. Certificate says I'm healed in 3 weeks. 3 weeks. 3 weeks. 3 weeks. Ouch, 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 ouch. The tape will hold, so it goes. I'm enveloped from my top down to my toes. I wanna make it through this fight, then the next fight, till my body falls apart. Ouch, 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 ouch.
Bravo, sir.
I shouldn't.
Well
I don't think I
done.
should see Bone. I just remember that part.
The certificate says I'll be healed in 3 weeks.
There were a lot fewer lyrics you needed to change than I might have expected there.
Yes.
I was able to use quite a bit.
Yeah.
That worked out pretty well for me.
Turns out the downsides of doing crystal meth are very similar to the downsides of doing sumo when it comes to your health.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, that song, by the way. I mean, I know
Slaps?
yes, but filthy.
Yes.
Messed up song when you get into those lyrics, that original one.
No, I was really happy with how that turned out.
Yeah, well
There you
done. Excellent job with the backup vocals for yourself as
Yes,
well.
I noticed
Yeah.
that. It was like,
Ouch.
dang,
Solid
well
editing.
done.
Ouch, ow, ooh, ooh, ouch, 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 ouch. All right. So we have 3 commercials similar-ish to that to look forward to in the next Basho for whoever loses. But we also want to get everybody else's predictions on what is going to be happening in this Basho. I think we're going to open it up. We usually just post this on Twitter /X, whatever you want to call it, for our bold predictions. I think maybe Jake, we can do a post on Instagram. We can do something. Leave in your YouTube comments if you're watching this video. Leave us your bold predictions.
Oh, yeah.
Because whoever gives us the best, most accurate bold prediction will win a free Grand Sumo Breakdown t-shirt. So we want to get those from as many sources as possible. You heard in the break that we took, you know how to contact us. You can send us an email with your predictions if you want. If you want to send us a prediction, there's a way to find us and get that over to us.
Yes,
Real
indeed.
quick before we wrap up, during some point during the last Basho, we had talked about nicknames for Haku Oho, and one of the ones we were confused about is somebody had mentioned like Billy for a nickname for Haku Oho. And we had somebody else reach out to us, Chom Childs, which explained why Billy might actually be a great name.
It does kind of work now.
Haku Oho.
Yeah.
So he says that when he thinks of Billy, he thinks of Billy the Kid. And a kid is a baby goat, which is what Haku Oho is likely to become. So a little bit of
After the shoulder surgery.
a little bit of a logic train to follow. But I get it. I see it. I like it.
It came to the station. We get it.
Billy it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is everybody most excited for this Basho? I think for me, I really want to see Kirishiba or Hoshoryu take it. I want to see one of these 2 new Ozekis take it and show that they have what it takes to take that final step when it comes to sumo, because we kind of need somebody to take that final step. Terunofuji's great when he's healthy, but that is just so far and few between when we see a healthy Terunofuji. Honestly, I don't think we see him in the year 2025. I think we get a little bit in 2024. I don't think we see Terunofuji past that. So we need somebody to step up, and I'm excited to see if Hoshoryu or Kirishiba can step up this Basho and prove that they're close to taking that next step.
Yeah.
What about you, Flair?
I think along those lines, and with my champ pick, Taka Keisho, I think, to show these new Ozeki what's up, because he's just gonna come in and just kind of just wreck house and get another Yusho out of nowhere, and like start that sooner run again going into Kyushu. So I am excited which of the Ozeki are gonna step up and get that Yusho, and I'm leaning towards Taka Keisho. Let's go.
All right. What about you, Mac?
I definitely want to see what Hoshoryu's going to be able to do. He's freshly minted Ozeki. Let's see if he can follow it up with another Yusho. I want to see it.
Sure.
And Jake.
I agree with you guys, but for the sake of variety, I'm going to say that Kirishima and Hoshoryu are kind of the battle to see, at least at this moment, who's going to go up to that next level. But that's going to leave some vacancies to fill. So I'm watching, obviously, Daisho, Wakamoto Haru, Kotonowaka, those Sekiwake, but also Gonoyama and Shonan Naomi is like the next. Each tier has to move up, right? And I'm excited for each of those spots to get filled.
All right, so that is going to wrap up our preview for the Aki Basho. This Basho is starting on Sunday, September 10th. Should be a really exciting affair. We'll see who shows up. There's plenty of injuries that we discussed, and a song that they should listen to really think is, should I sit out? Should I take time to heal myself from these injuries? I think we should send that to the JSA. That should be a song that they play.
Send it to the JSA East and be like, guys, play this to your people.
Some random American sent us a flash drive with a really poorly sung pop song on it
from 30 years ago.
What is
Put
happening?
it through the translator. What does it say? I don't know.
They say from
Ricefield.
YDC West. What does that even mean?
It says YDC/JSA West.
What
You're right.
is
You're right. Yeah.
ouch, each ouch, ooch, ouch? What is that?
It's
All right.
very strange.
Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Thank you for listening to Grand Sumo Breakdown.
Until next time.
Throw your salt high.
And keep moving forward.